Who's ready? Who's ready for some? Boom, baby, boom! Rise and shine. Even on a rainy, cloudy motherfucking day, it is raining, but it's moving day. And your boy Mark Usain is getting out of this Airbnb and away from this dude's vibes. I am packing, so you're gonna have to watch me pack while I do the morning motivation. Just like everything, I'm always multitasking, but drip by drip, it'll be a flood, just like the rain. You don't want to believe in it. You're like, oh, it's just so light, and then all of a sudden everything is soaked, and it's such a power in the drip by drip format. There's such a power for putting in the work every day and using the power of now, and then you see it work every day, because then it's in the past, you're like, oh, it's already happened. But if I do something in the now, then it will happen. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to make it happen, Captain. This is Saints Addiction. Leg out, like, share, subscribe. So I'm going to pack. I almost got everything packed anyway, but I need to pack, like get this shit done. You know what I mean? And that's what it takes, bro. That's what it takes, son. It takes a concentrated effort on your definitive goal. If you're listening to Napoleon Hill, a lot of us will forget the goal and we'll go after the shiny or the gratification or the immediacy of something else that wasn't the goal in the first place. We'll tune out, tune in, or whatever you want to say, and we'll be like, you know what? I'm just gonna go with the flow. I'm just gonna do what I want to do, which sounds really powerful, especially with your ego. I'm just gonna do what I want to do. In that breath, you're almost exhaling the excuse of what actually needs to happen, and that's another form of excuse. It's subtle, but most of us won't admit it, but that's what ends up happening. Let me turn on some light here. I'm just gonna get this light going. I'm packing up as we begin, but a lot of people, they're not trying to do the notes, they're not trying to do the work. I noticed this with a conversation with a guy that was saying this to me. He was like, is that how best my time is spent? You got to ask yourself that question. I don't think most of us do ask that question. Like, is this the best I can do with my time? Big question. Most of us just spend the time and then like ask later, or don't calculate what our time's being spent on, and it spends. You got to ante up every day, whether you want to play or not, or wave me, trade me, or whatever the fuck you got going on. Guess what? It's still spinning. And that's what ends up happening. The day takes an ante from you, and whether you build on your dream or let it go by, it still takes a little bit from the pot. You know what I mean? You still got to cash in, like it or not. And most of us, we don't want to cash in. We want everything to be awesome and free. We don't want people to slow down or have to do anything, right? We want these things to just keep free flowing and not have to concentrate on anything. And that's fine. You can be happy-go-lucky. I'm sure that'll work out for you just the way you want it to. I'm just saying that for people that want to be successful, people that understand that days are precious and time is a valuable commodity, you wouldn't spend it on things that didn't move the dream. Right? You wouldn't put it out on things that, are happening, for things that aren't happening, right? Like you wouldn't put energy into a dull relationship or a bad job or other things like that. You would say, it's not worth my time. And that's what we keep saying to ourselves. It's like, drip by drip, it'll be a flood. It'll be worth your time. If you wanted to learn French, they say it's 130 hours of concentrated effort. Is that worth your time? And most of us, we do the quick monkey thinking, and the quick monkey thinking just goes, is this relationship worth it? Is this girl love me the same? Will I get my investment back out of it? And that's what we really calculate more than anything, faster than anything. It's one of our fast judgments, especially since we wake up our brain, is the juice worth the squeeze? MotivatedJuice.com. So it's one of those where we constantly say, am I getting a fair end of the deal? Like, am I making enough hourly for the job that I'm doing? Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. You will be the type of person to measure that very quickly in your head and see if you're calculating what's worth it and what's not worth it. And that's why we have to ask ourselves, is the juice worth the squeeze? Am I putting in the energy that just for the please, like it pleases me, or do I put in the energy and become a G and actually do something with my energy that I'll be pleased with later and actually pleasantly surprised that I surprise myself. That's what it seems to be like, because I constantly want to be surprised by what my effort has done, and it's woken me up, bro. Like this morning, I'm just like, God damn, I can close my eyes, and I'm like, there's Machu Picchu, and that bag went to Machu Picchu, or there's the Great Wall of China. It's like, no shit, bro. Yeah, no shit, bro. Like that's in me. No one can take it away from me, and it's a blessing. So it's one of those things that, instead of stressing, I do something with the stress. That energy needs to pay me. It needs to do something like a dividend. It needs to pay for itself instead of being just about my wealth. I want it for it to pay for itself. And that's something that most of us, we don't do. We just let the things happen, and we're just like, oh, well, that's just how it happened. Instead of going, this is the way I want it to happen. This is the way I put energy into it. So it goes in that direction. And instead of the other direction, which we already know tends to be the lazy, the sugary, and the sexy. So it's one of those things where drip by drip, you'll know when you're making that decision. Drip by drip, we watch it on people all the time, especially like when it's like a weight loss thing or something like that. When you're looking at somebody, you're like, did this person keep working out? That's what we're looking at. We're not just looking at their body. We're looking at their consistency, their body of consistency, I should probably say. So it's one of those things that we don't play. Human beings are quick to judge, and they measure quickly. And if we look at the grape, I keep calling it the grape. We'll have to call it the grape because it's what was in the experimenter's hand when they were doing that test with the monkeys. And the monkeys, they gave them something, and they were like, I don't want this. They kind of threw it back like, that's not what I want. Like we are. We started measuring it, and they were like, hey, yeah, I'm going to give this monkey one thing and give this other monkey the other, and the other monkey's watching, and they're like, I don't want the carrot or the cucumber, I want the grape like the other monkey got. And he threw it at the like, get this piece of shit out of here. Not like I might need calories later or I should conserve it. No, he was like, that's not what I wanted immediately. The other monkey's getting what I want. Let me throw this at the supervisor and be like, you better take this shit back. And how many of us have been like that, where we throw back a blessing or throw back a treat because it didn't match what other people were getting? Watch children at a birthday, and you're like, no, I would never do that. And it was like, yeah, watch these kids, dude. Watch them do that kind of reaction to not getting the same birthday present as their friends, or they can't go to the same places. They're going to act just like these monkeys and throw it back. They're going to be like, get the fuck out of here, man. I want what I want, and I want it now. And if we all get what we want, then we never stop to get for what we need. And that's what the big change in everything, or in my psyche or in my memory, was it was like, it's more about what can help me drip forward to make this a flood later. Something where I'm just like, God damn, that's a lot of work. Like, it got done because I planted the seed, because I did the work, and I kept following through for what I needed and not what I wanted. And it's a big thing to be mature enough to go, is this a need or is it a want? And a lot of us, we can't tell the difference at all. We'll just be like, I have a feeling and I'm going after it. And it's like, okay, if you keep chasing feelings, right, then you're not chasing objectives. That's the tough part. You're not chasing what you really, really want. You just got what you surfacely wanted. And that's what's so confusing about it. It's like, yeah, sure, that's what I wanted, till you have a breakup, till you have diabetes, till you have situations befuddle you, and you're going to be like, fuck, man, I guess that's what I really, really wanted. And that's why it's drip by drip, because you're getting what you really, really want. You just don't know if it's a cold drip, a hot drip, or a slow drip. Those things keep adding up. So whether we wanted it or not, or how we concentrated it or not, it's still playing a trick on us. And that's why I was like, it adds up, bro. I'm just shocked by it. I was like, it's not like I just sat out and go, I'm going to go top 7 destinations, ancient wonders of the world. No, it started a slow drip. And next thing I know, I'm 45 and I've been doing it for 15 years. I looked up and I was just like, damn, that went by fast. Like shocked like anyone else. I was like, I'm as surprised as you are, but hey, that's what it is. It's a slow drip. It's the eventuality of erosion. It's like being at the Grand Canyon. You can stare at it and you'll be like, okay, I see the power of evolution. I see the power of erosion. I see the power of water and energy in everybody's system. But, it takes us to see it, to believe it most of the time. But I tell you what, a slow drip is not something to watch. They used to say this, I don't know if it's a old Southern saying or whatever, but like watching water boil keeps it from boiling kind of adage, right? Like just by staring at it doesn't mean that it's going to jump up and happen. And it actually kind of slows down when you are watching the water boil, kind of like the frog just sitting there letting it boil and fester a little bit instead of jumping out of the water when they had a chance. And that's all it is. It's just one of those things where it's like a little too late, a little too sorry if you're not doing something about it in the immediacy. If you're just going to just let things happen like your diabetes or, oh, I'll just work out tomorrow, or it could be a multitude of things. It's like it's very subtle, but like when we add it all up, that's what we're seeing. We're seeing people that are addicted to fast food. I was watching it, and these are some of the most addictive substances on the planet. We're talking cocaine, smoking, marijuana, all of it, porn, you name it, anything to keep us back in the loop from escaping the loop or doing something about our lives. We kind of double back down, and guess what? We soon realize that we're still back in the same situation we started from, and why can't we leave this addiction loop? And that's really what the question is. When these things are happening, you're like, why is this happening to me? You know what I mean? And it's like, I know why it's happening to you, because you made the decision for it to happen to you. Most people don't want to have the kind of conversation. They don't want to be in the real world going like, you know what? I guess I should have had temperance. I should have had patience. I should have tried harder when I was in college. There's a lot of woulda, shoulda, couldas. You'll hear it from people all the time. They're like, man, if I only had done this, or if I could have controlled my mind and not gone all in, or why do I keep gambling? That's another addiction too. Anything that floods our brain and lets us think that we're winning and not insane. It's hard to say what's the difference between insane and insane, because you're still the same person in the same situation. It's just your reaction to it, right? Like once it really happens, then you know what you're going to double down on. I love the betting terminology, but it's true. You doubling down on the things that work for you or work against you is constantly being shown in front of you. It's just that it's a slow drip. It was just another day. That was last week, last month. And I even had a ex-friend hit me up and go, oh man, I'm sorry, you probably hate me and things like that. And I was just like, no, dude, I don't hate anybody. I'm just telling you, we run things differently. And I have to handle things myself, because depending on other people, they're going to drive me insane and drill holes in my canoe. And that's something I can't do. So whether he believed me or wanted to be my friend or wanted to apologize, I'm not quite sure what he was trying to do. But I was just telling him, me and you, we're different. I handle things myself, so that way I know they get done. You're over here taking, $200 worth of my flyers and disappearing. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that I can't abide by. So, some people, they're okay with it. Me, I'm on some, that's not okay. I'm going to do something about it and make my life into a reality to go in a different direction, because I planted that seed. It has to grow from somewhere, and it grows from in here and up here, where you start growing these things and you go, what? You know what? Man, I don't have to be so dumb anymore and just do things because they feel right. I can be a smart monkey and do things because they are right. And that's a big difference for you, yourself. It's right for you instead of against you and your better interest. And it sucks to be your own worst enemy. It's no surprise to me. I am my own worst enemy, because every now and then I kick the living shit out of me. Lyrics on shirts, And that was a tough one, to be like, oh shit, I'm the one that chose that ex-girlfriend. Oh shit, I'm the one that chose that college degree. Oh shit, I'm the one that's driving this ship. So it's one of those things where a lot of us don't want to admit it, right? We don't want to have to put energy into it. We just want it to fall from the sky and smile at us like, hey, life's okay. But it is nice to have a challenge in life. It is nice to say, challenge yourself to something and say, is this worth my time? Is this worth my energy? And then apply yourself to it to watch it transform. That's awesome to me. That's what makes life worth living. When you get a chance and opportunity to see things with your own eyes, your real eyes will start to realize that you're only telling yourself and only you are listening to. That's the tough part. It's like drip by drip, those are beliefs too. And that's the tough part. You know, when we're the ones telling ourselves that we can't do something, or it'll take too long, or we don't have enough money, that's still you self-sabotaging. You don't want to call it that because it doesn't feel like that, but that's exactly what it is. ANT, the ants, man, the automatic negative thoughts that we tell ourselves, like, oh, I can't afford that. I can't go there. You know, it's going to take too much time. You're right. You're just like the monkey that threw the grape. You're going to be believing that this is a shit gig. It's not going to be worth your time. It's not going to be worth your energy. And then you go back to what has been taking up your energy. And that's usually like social media, doom scrolling, or whatever makes you feel okay. It's the same as video games, another addictive substance that's out on this planet that we don't want to talk about. But going to a video game realm pushes your problems to the side. Now you're just entertained. Now you're just numb, right? Like, I don't have to concentrate on anything. I can turn on this video game and disappear for a couple hours. But much like alcohol, which is the number one addiction, it's also so popular that's an acceptable addiction, is to just disappear, right? I don't have to focus on anything. I can just disappear. And I'm like, no, actually, you have to appear to yourself. You have to appear to your time and show up almost like a court order. Right? You know what I mean? Like if you had to, what's the thing when you go to court? You know what I'm saying? When they make you the court summons, right? You got to summons yourself to court and say, hey, didn't you say that you would do X, Y, Z? And you're going to be like, yeah, that was me. And it's like, well, what happened to your commitment? Weren't you supposed to show up and piss in a cup with your what do they call them? A parole officer? Like nobody has a parole officer. Nobody has a person looking over their shoulder going like trying to slap the cookies out of their hands. No, instead, we just got ourselves to patrol. It's our own minds. Like you're your own patrol officer, but usually you're not on patrol. Usually you're sitting on the side of the highway, probably fiddling your phone, right? You know what I mean? And that's not right because life is so precious and so is time. It's just another way of secretly letting it go by and not concentrating on it at all makes it try to disappear and fall from the sky like drip by drip, just like rain. But it's adding up outside. You're not seeing it, but it could be a flash flood. And then all of a sudden it's like, where did all that energy come from? How did it move all these trees? How did it create the Grand Canyon? Time, like everything, like a diamond, a little bit of pressure and time, and all of a sudden you're one of the rare minerals on this earth. You know what I mean? Like, it's not easy making diamonds. Now we finally learned how to, but I mean, that's what it is. It's a compression of your time compounded in front of you so that way you can realize your real lies or your real effort. And most of the time, we're not doing either. We're just trying to hide a little bit. Like, no, I don't want you to see what I'm really made out of. I don't even really want to see what I'm really made of because then I have to do the accounting like that monkey and say that's a carrot, not a grape. And I throw it at my life or up against the wall or whatever else we come up with, you know what I mean? Like the monkey did. You're going to be like, man, that didn't work for me. You know what I mean? And that's all we're looking for is things that work for us than against us. And that's a huge difference. There's so much out there that keeps us distracted or not focused. That's why I'm getting all my shit together right now because I'm a little bit distracted because I'm obviously doing the morning motivation at the same time, but I already packed all this stuff in my head and I got to get out within the hour. So it's one of those things where, see, I set everything out ahead of time. It's one of those things that you could be prepared in your brain and your soul, especially at night when you have the chance to talk to your self-conscious, finally settle down your mind and have thorough ideas. Most of us aren't trying to do that at all. We're just like lights out, and whatever spinning around in our head, just let it spin like our favorite CD, and like, look, boom, we're moving out, clean, clean, clean. But that's what I'm talking about. I wanted to have every moment filled with gratitude instead of an attitude, filled with reflection instead of in perspective, instead of an anger or a resentment. That's what we can do in our head. The can-do attitude that we have, or all of us can have, is if we start telling our brains what to do instead of what to feel, or tell it what to feel and what to do instead of just going from feeling to feeling, or emotion to emotion, or thought to thought. That's all they are. They're just thoughts. And the ones you give the most energy towards will grow drop by drop. And that's why it becomes a flood in our head. And we're like, how did this happen? How did I get this far? And it's like, look at yourself, look at your actions, count yourself in and go like, if life is a blessing, why aren't we treating it such? Probably we just treated it as a recreation instead of a blessing. We wouldn't take it as our time to throw it away like gold. It's because it is actual gold. It's a precious metal on this earth. Time is, but we'll throw it out because we'll be like, yeah, it wasn't really worth it. It takes more effort, and I don't want to put any effort in. I just want it to happen. And I'm like, well, you got to make it happen, Captain. You got to chisel this Grand Canyon. It's not just going to fall from the sky. No, ma'am, no, sir. You got to make it inside your head. Stop the lies. And that's something that we really kind of fight against. We kind of like, well, then I would have to drop my ego, and then I would have to actually shape up and put some effort in. That requires my accountability, and I don't know how accountable I want to be because, I've been getting away with some things scot-free. And that's what we are. We're like slick kids. We're like clever monkeys. We'll literally go inside of our heads and fool ourselves, right? Which is a denial, which isn't exactly slick, into thinking that we can trick ourselves, but we're the only ones in ourselves that's actually paying attention. So, shame on me, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice. It's shame on us all because there's no fooling ourselves, and we can live in denial, right? Because, that's a very comfortable way to live. It's like I don't see no evil, I don't hear no evil, I don't speak no evil, so no evil will happen towards me. But we'll do secret things, that not necessarily are evil. I wouldn't even classify them as evil, but more like lazy. That's one of them. You know what I mean? When we're doing our thing, a lot of people, they don't want to admit it, but it's true. Lazy is another thing that we do. It's another one of our 7 deadly sins is our wrath, our gluttony, and our vanity. We'll put time into those things and be like, why didn't I grow my education? Oh, I was too busy taking selfies. Check mic 1, 2. Is this thing on? Like, how come I'm not further ahead in my life? Well, probably because you were playing, and just like the ants, what's the old adage where the ants and the grasshopper? Yeah. Over the summer, all the ants were working their asses off in the hot sun and grabbing the sugar and grabbing the whatever it took to get food. And then came the winter, the grasshopper was chilling. He didn't work for anything. He didn't get in that hot sun. He didn't want to do that. No, ma'am, no, sir. That looks a lot like work. And that's what we do as people, straight up. We'll just be like, that looks a lot like effort, and I'll disappear. I don't want to have anything to do with that. See you later. And then you can disappear. But when you reappear, when you come back up for air, guess what, bro? It's still there. You know what I mean? And that's what responsibility and accountability looks like. It's people that can handle it inside themselves and be like, I can do this. I can do the things that I put my mind to and say I'm do because I reinforced it and I've proven it to myself time and time again, right? So time and time again, I'd like for you to show up, my friend, show up for yourself and in your life instead of being surprised why things didn't work out. You can be happily welcoming the change because you put the effort in, bro. Like, imagine that. Like, you actually said you were going to do something and it got done, So I'm packing up, me and my 2, 3, 4 bags, getting this shit done as I said I would while I did the morning motivation. Let's roll one up too. It's not going to be done for me. Nobody's going to come wipe my ass. Nobody's going to hold baby's bottle. You know what I mean? Like, It's up to me, and that's why I like being empowered. That's what my great aunt would say. Is you got to take care of you and yours, and that's what I started to do. I started to take care of me myself, and that means listening to the Neville Goddards at night, or waking up with the right attitude in the morning, or getting up early and surprising myself that I had more energy, or staying up instead of taking a nap. All these things combined to develop me, and I was just like, oh shit. I can't believe all the places I've been. I didn't just go like a list. It just started to drip. And the next thing I look back at 15 years of hard work, and I'm like, God damn, that is a full-on chisel. That's a full-on, what do you call it? Shawshank Redemption, where I just kept chiseling into the wall, and eventually it's got to fall. Brick by brick, it'll be a wall. The bricks you stack in your head, or the way that you treat it, it'll always add up. So it's like, can you do it right now? That's the real question. Because if you can do it right now, it'll happen in the future. If we all get what we really, really want inside, so what are you concentrating on now to make that abide? How are you going to get yourself to make yourself go in motion, especially for the things that you want to do? I'll wait. But time and tide won't. You know what I mean? Time ain't waiting. I got to check out here in about a half hour. So will the rain wait for me? No. You know what I mean? Like, the rain's just like, bitch, get the fuck out of here. And I'm like, I'm working on a bitch, So it's one of those things where bitch or itch, still needs to be scratched. It still needs to be handled. And just talking about it isn't enough. Doing something about it is what's really going to get you out of your situation. So a lot of us will let the stress and the anxiety double up on us and make us turn into the human lawn chair, and then we'll just not care and sit back on the phone, and well, at least I'm not thinking about it right now, and then that means I don't have to feel it, and then I'm just grateful that I don't have to feel it. That's my gratification, and I'll just do the ignore it, instead of doing the responsible thing and saying, okay, I got to get up and do something about this, like an adult, like a mature person. What we'll do is we'll slick away and be like, no one's looking, but you're still looking, bro. You're still knowing that you're letting yourself down, that you're not helping yourself out, and that this monster, whatever you're trying to avoid in your head, will still be there when you wake up, because you didn't do anything about it. You didn't get up to slay the dragon. You didn't pack up your shit. You didn't plan a new trip. You just kept sitting just like the frog in the boiling water, and expecting it to jump out when you didn't never jump. You never did anything that's scary, nothing for risk, nothing for reward, nothing to change your trajectory. That's what I'm saying. So it's like one of these things where this is your time, the day, the now, right now, while I'm talking about you, what I'm packing. And I just packed up the whole house in less than a half hour. I had to use my time wisely, bro, instead of against me. And trust me, it used to be against me. It used to, like, again, I'm not above doing video games. I'm not above smoking weed, but I am definitely doing the things that I needed to get done before I smoked weed. Did you see that? Like, I wasn't going to pack all high. Like, what was the girl that does the comedy? She's like, dear ladies, pack your purse before you get high. I was like, yeah, that's genius, Concentrate a little bit before you start to celebrate. I know you want to celebrate. We all do. We can't wait to just get out of our own heads and just go crazy. And sometimes it's like that. Maybe it is the weekend and you just don't want to talk about anything and just be quiet on the boat and do some fishing or something to that effect. Totally get it if it's all earned. But you need to go and do something to earn those relaxation points, to earn that relaxing moment that you needed in your head. It's so easy to just be like, I just need retail therapy. And it's like, no, you need to fucking buckle down on your credit and start paying down some of your debt, so it's not such a monster later that cripples you on the couch like, oh my God, I can't pay my bills. I got one of my reliable models that just hit me. She's at a women's shelter in Bakersfield. You think it's easy, bro? It's not. You could easily lose your job, your house, and your life real quick. And that's why it's so important to do something with it right now. Get yourself empowered so that way you're in a power position instead of a stranded position. And that's something that you can thank yourself for. So yeah, sure, you could get what you want, because we always get what you want. You know what I mean? But if you try sometimes, you just might find you get what you need. Oh yeah, that's that lyrics on shirts, baby. So I'm just grateful. I'm pinching myself. I get up this morning and our just business just grows. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like bros. It just keeps happening. And then you'd be like, wow, I really stacked the whole wall. I wasn't so imperative at the first place. It was just so much more subtle. Like I'm telling you, success I thought would feel like a lottery win. Like, hey, we just made it, dude. I got $1 billion. You know what I mean? Like hitting it. And it turns out it's not. It's more like a slow drip. It was like, okay, that was a failure, but I kept working it. And then I kept going. And even though I didn't think I could go, I went without any money. And then I added a third trip around the world. And then I got to see more, what do you call them? Ancient wonders of the world. And then they kept inspiring me and I kept rising and shining to the occasion. And that's the blessing. So I'm just shocked. I'm really am shocked at the growth, how fast we got Intersect.ai up and running. It wasn't in a second, but like this whole year and a half, 2 years has passed by so fucking fast. And then now all of a sudden we're recommended by 800.com and we got big corporations interested in us and we can even get valued for multi-millions of dollars, with investors and things like that. So it's one of those things that was like, oh shit, this happened pretty quick, like, go team go. And that's what I've been seeing. So it's one of those, it's one of those where everybody's rowing. There are no holes in the canoe. And thankfully we built the wall straight so that all of us can be fortified on the inside. And that's what I wanted people to have, it's an inside job. If you want the calm, right? Do something to help your calm. It's going to be extremely more stressful if you let yourself down and let yourself relax on your laurels and just say, oh shit, I'm just going to chill out and then it'll all pass by. This too shall pass. It just will be a bigger storm later. And I've been trying to tell people, from someone that's a depression survivor or somebody that's been around the world or somebody that's actually beat the system, this is how I did it, and it isn't because I was sitting. I can tell you that, like my buddy said, I don't know any multimillionaires that are sleeping in, and that's what it is. So, I had to get up back early. I had to train myself to do something differently than what I did, and I have to wait for my weed till after I complete my task. So that's Saints Addiction, bro. On my heart from the start. It all started from this show, and now it's getting edited and revisited thanks to video in a sec. You know what I'm saying? And now we can sit there and look at it and be like, oh shit, this is pretty fucking cool. You know what I mean? Like this is something that we can all look back on and be like, oh shit, I'm grateful to myself for doing those push-ups. I'm grateful to myself for sticking to my diet. That's what it is. You want that self-confidence to show yourself. No one else can do it for you. This is something, it's a completely inside job. But to prove to yourself that, if I set my mind to something, it gets done. And I know that about myself. I know, like, as soon as I say it, it happens. So I've been grateful for that superpower, like, oh yeah, I'll come visit you in Ireland. It's doable. And it did get done. And it was just like, fuck, the fact that I could just throw that out there because my friend's like, hey, let me know when you come to Germany. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I will, it's even more possible because I mentioned it and because I've proven it to myself time and time again. To prove to myself that if I get on a mission, if I say I'm going to do it, then it gets done, bro. That's what it's really about. Like when you get it in your head, in your heart, and in your shine, and you say, dude, this is my time. This is what I'm going to do with my time. My time is now, and I want it to be successful. I want it to happen, and I'll make it happen, Captain. Then there's nothing stopping you. It's just like being on a train. It's already going in that destination. It's already full steam ahead. Full steam ahead. You know what I mean? Like that's what had to be invented when they invented the steam machine. It's like horsepower, How many horsepower? Well, shit, dude, how many horses need a break after 8 hours? That's what they forgot to tell you. It wasn't that the steam engine was that powerful. It's that they converted it from your boy James Watt to say that this is how many horses it's saving you. So all these miners and coalers and people like roofers like us, when we call them, it's like, sure, you might not need a voice AI agent, but guess what? You might have an AI question. Keep our information. We're here to help. Maybe not right now, but who else are you going to know to call? And instead of just doing a quick, Google search for a random person on AI, it'll be the guy that wasn't afraid to pick up the phone and mention Intersect.ai. And then you'll be like, oh yeah, there was a guy that texted me, emailed me, and SMS'd me. Let me go check his number and ask him that question. And then guess who's up for the sale? Me, because I did the work and wasn't afraid to make the phone call months before. So a lot of people will be like, oh, it's so easy. All you had to do was make a phone call. Bullshit. I had to make 100 calls. You know what I mean? And I had to get my ass up and work on a sunny day and convince a 27-year-old to work along with me and all those things. So we like to minimize other people's effort, but it's a lot to do daily effort. It adds up. Like anybody that's a bodybuilder or a weight loser or a business builder, you know that it started one day and it soon became 10 years and then it became a whole corporation, and you're just like, how'd that happen? Well, diligence, like practice, like how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice. So that's my morning motivation. If you got anything out of this, go ahead, like, share, subscribe below. As you already know, that's Saints Addiction. Peace and love. And as always, Chigaton. That means goodbye, but not forever in Finnish. And I will kiss the island and see you on the other side, because that's where I live, bro. I live on the other side of the world, bro. I get to travel the world. I'm here in Finland, man. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. So it's the other side of your excuses, because you're going to come up with it. And then it's the other side of your fucking fear, because that's going to try to slow you down too. And then it's the other side of the world, because that's where I'll be. Peace. Go be free and do something with your day. Get off this thing. Go for a walk.